Hi, I'm Brian LeBlanc.
And I'm Stephen Taylor.
And I'm Susan Taylor. We are going to walk you through this training today.
We thank you for your involvement in dementia-friendly communities. By attending this training, you are making a difference in the lives of those living with dementia.
Our goal is to acknowledge that there are community members that are no longer participating in activities of daily life they had once enjoyed. Due to the worry that others will not understand what is happening to them, they remain isolated.
Many people do not feel that others give them adequate time to respond or include them in decision making. Care partners may be concerned about how others in the community will see their loved one and how they may respond to them when they are in public and unexpected situations occur.
Because of this, they may stop doing many of the activities they both love, increasing the risk for isolation and impacting your customer base.
This training will be a testament to how your business is committed to supporting your community and will show those who are living with dementia and their friends and families that it is safe to continue enjoying the things they love.
Today, we will cover statistics for people living with dementia, why awareness matters, what the disease is and isn't, potential signs and symptoms of dementia, creating supportive environments and improving communication, reacting to urgent situations. Please note that many phrases in this presentation are underlined, and they will be on the test. Almost 6 million Americans who are 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease. Plus, an estimated 200,000 are under the age of 65. This number also includes only those suspected to have Alzheimer's disease. Nationally, this number is more than 7 million for those who are living with dementia. The numbers are rising, and it is estimated that more than 14 million individuals will be living with Alzheimer's by the year 2050. 1 out of 10 people, ages 45 and older, report that they are experiencing subjective cognitive decline. This statistic relates to a perceived change in cognition, not necessarily one that has been diagnosed. Nearly 1 out of 3 seniors who die each year has Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia when they pass.
In 2020, there were 110,000 Hoosiers living with Alzheimer's, ages 65 and older. By 2025, these numbers are projected to increase to 130,000 people. Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death in Indiana and across the United States. This is down slightly from a few years ago when it was the 5th leading cause. It is the only one of the top 6 that does not have a cure.
The estimated cost of care in 2020 related to Alzheimer's and other dementias totaled more than $305 billion in the United States. This cost could rise to more than $1 trillion by the year 2050. These costs include unpaid caregiving, increased medical costs for both the person living with dementia as well as their care partners, loss of job, care expenses, and increased isolation and risk of developing other medical conditions.
Some reasons you may need to be aware are to understand why you may be having a difficult time communicating with a client or customer. To reduce the stigma surrounding living with dementia, most people living with dementia can be fairly independent and involved in their communities and have a variety of interests. Unfortunately, in the United States, there is a very negative and often unrealistic picture attached to Alzheimer's and dementia. This bias can affect daily life for those living with dementia and their families. Awareness will also help to decrease the risk of isolation by promoting social and civic engagement. Many people living with dementia have an increased risk of depression and isolation due to the stigma and withdrawal from activities and social circles or from others who withdraw from them. This may also impact their care partners negatively, causing them to isolate as well. Dementia can affect anyone, any of us. This training will discuss how to create an environment where we all can thrive, no matter the diagnosis. Currently, there is little research about the economic impact of welcoming people living with dementia and their care partners into your space in a way that supports them as individuals. However, one study from the United Kingdom showed that 3 out of 4 people surveyed would visit more restaurants, cafes, and pubs if only there were a change in the noise level. A similar study showed that 83% of people with memory problems have switched their shopping habits to places that are more accessible. Becoming dementia-friendly will enable businesses to retain existing customers and attract new ones. That's not the only economic impact that dementia-friendly practices affect, however. A study by the Alzheimer's Association tells us that businesses that support their caregiving employees are not just benevolent, they are smart. Every dollar companies spend on elder care support reaps $3 to $14 in return. What benefits, economic and otherwise, do you see for your organization as a result of becoming more dementia-friendly?
Dementia is a term that includes several types of cognitive changes. The most common dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is an example of an irreversible dementia.
There are some reversible dementias, and these are usually caused by an infection or a medical problem that can be determined by a physician and are most commonly known as delirium. Reversible dementias are not true dementias, as they usually have an identifiable cause and are not progressive. There are over 100 identified types of dementia, including 20 pediatric dementias.
Dementia is a progressive disease that affects the brain and creates some of the following cognitive issues. Usually early in the disease, we see changes in memory, thinking, behavior, personality or mood, and word finding.
Dementia is not just a memory problem. With a healthy aging brain, we may experience some mild forgetfulness and or slowing in our thinking. Dementia is a collection of symptoms more severe than the changes of normal aging. Usually, later in the disease, we may see changes in physical abilities, toileting, swallowing.
These cognitive issues can occur anytime. However, communication changes may happen throughout. We usually notice the things listed under early in the disease as a sign we need to be seen by a physician. It should also be noted that other forms of dementia may present in different ways. For instance, someone diagnosed with Lewy body disease may experience changes in physical abilities earlier and more profoundly than changes in cognition when compared to someone with Alzheimer's disease.
Think about times you have seen someone have some of these issues, and how did you approach it?
Dementia is not contagious and is often not noticeable. It is important to remember that all people living with dementia have strengths, interests, opinions, and rich histories. There are a lot of signs that someone might be living with brain change. We have listed a few of those here for you to become familiar with. You can sometimes tell when communication does not come easy to your client or customer. For instance, you may notice someone is slower to respond. They might struggle to find words or have a hard time following and recalling previous conversations. Impulse control may also be changing for some people and may result in impatience, issues recognizing personal space, or saying things that are out of character. These reactions result from changes in the brain and may be prompted by feeling overwhelmed, uncertain, or frustrated. These reactions are not personal. Changes with vision and navigation may also be present. How might you support someone living with these changes?
Changing our approach can be a powerful way of supporting a person living with dementia. Make sure your posture is welcoming, that you are at eye level, and you are smiling, if appropriate to the situation.
Try not to overwhelm. Limit the number of people assisting and the amount of information you give at one time.
Slow down when you speak, but do not babyfy your message. Using elder speak can feel condescending. Remember that you are speaking to an intelligent adult. Give adequate time for a response. It can take up to 30 seconds for a response from some people living with dementia.
Nonverbals can be a helpful method of communication. When possible, use and encourage gestures, visuals, and body language. If what you are doing is not working, just slow down and try again. Your client or customer will be thankful you were trying, and that creates a good experience for them.
No matter what, stay positive and try not to take challenges personally. Everyone is different and reacts differently in each situation. Sometimes it is better to back off and have someone else try if your approach does not seem effective. Make sure that you are considering the environment as well. Perhaps moving to a place that is quieter or less distracting. It will help you both with communication. In fact, considering your environment can make a big difference for people living with dementia in your space. Not all people living with dementia experience changes the same way. However, there are some changes and abilities that are common for many people. Let's take a look at some of the common changes that accompany dementia and how you can support someone with those changes in your space.
Even with a healthy aging brain, visual changes begin to occur at about the age of 25. Visual field decreases slightly each year, and lenses begin to harden. For people living with dementia, these changes typically happen much more rapidly. In the early stages of the disease, sometimes even before a person has been diagnosed, people living with dementia will likely begin to develop tunnel vision. Scuba vision, as we see in the first picture on the left, is typically in early stages. Take some time to mimic what you see the man in the picture doing. Place your hands on the side of your face like you are wearing a scuba mask. What do you notice? What is not so obvious? As vision continues to change, tunnel vision advances. In the mid stages of dementia, most people will develop binocular vision. Take a moment now to use your hands and simulate binoculars around your eyes.
This type of vision limits periphery, can result in a change in depth perception, and can pose challenges with distinguishing between non-contrasting colors and textures. How is this different from scuba vision? In the latest stages of the disease, people may begin to experience monocular vision. Close one eye, preferably your non-dominant eye, and create a telescope with your hand around the other, like in the second picture. What changes do you notice now? Think about walking around in your place of work with each of these visual challenges. Is there anything that you can do to improve your area to make it easier to navigate? Some helpful tips to improve your space may be: provide natural light when able, limit dim or dark areas, and place signage at eye level.
Because of these changes in visual processing, floors are a common problem in public spaces. Patterned floors, they may look uneven or appear as holes. Glossy floors may appear as wet. Cracks in the pavement may be mistaken for stairs or steps. People living with dementia may avoid these areas. Others may shuffle or stumble or appear to step over perceived obstacles when experiencing this. Some tips for improving flooring include: use natural colored, matte flooring where possible. Avoid patterned flooring. Use dark rugs or tiles to deter someone from spaces that are off limits.
Restrooms are one of the most common challenges for people needing support in the community. Visual perception can be a problem here as well. If a bathroom is all one color, depth perception can be a problem. People living with dementia may not be able to see the white sink or the white toilet against the white floor and walls, as pictured on this slide.
This increases the chances of an accident and can decrease a person's feeling of independence. Adding contrast can allow people to better see different elements in the room and be able to manage more independently. The best practice would be to have a family bathroom available. This setup allows for a care partner to assist if needed and reduces the confusion of multiple entrances. Keep in mind, accidents happen. Keep safe cleaning supplies on hand in case an accident occurs.
Restrooms can also be a challenge when it comes to wayfinding. Rows of stalls can be overwhelming, and it may be difficult to know where to go. Multiple entrances may make it difficult to recall where you entered. This could create a dangerous situation if you leave through another door and get lost in a busy place.
Simple signage is also a must for wayfinding and communication. Considering the visual changes we have learned about, make sure that important signs are placed at eye level. Many people living with dementia can still process written information. For those who are starting to experience challenges in this area, pictures can help to convey the message more effectively.
Because our brains process visual information best, just a few words with contrasting color in the background and a simple image is best. Consider this for other written items like menus also. Think about the signs in your organization. Do they have contrasting colors and simple, easy-to-read messaging? Are they placed where they are most likely to be seen?
Now that we have considered much of what we can see within your business or organization, let's turn our attention to what may be less obvious, the noise in the environment. As the brain changes with dementia, it's hard to block out background noise. The more noise there is, the harder it is for the brain to process what is most important. Have you ever turned your car radio down when you are looking for an address? That happens because our brains are trying to focus on the most important information in the moment. Sometimes noise is too much, causing someone to become overstimulated and overwhelmed. When this happens, the person may need to leave the area or may become irritable or anxious. How can you reduce noise levels or find a quieter space for someone who may need it? Consider ambient noise, as well as the noise from our customers. Providing a quieter environment can really help with communication.
Despite our best efforts, there may be times when clients or customers have unmet needs that we are not aware of. If a customer becomes agitated or upset, seek to understand. If you are able to determine what they may be trying to communicate, these feelings may resolve.
If a customer makes an inappropriate comment or becomes loud and disruptive, redirect to a quieter space and try again. Remember, this type of communication is not always about something you have done wrong. The customer is communicating in the best way that they are able at the moment. If someone starts to argue, apologize. Although you may not feel that you have done anything wrong, an apology can serve as a way to get on the same team and validate the customer's feelings. Try saying, "I'm sorry that I have made you upset. That was not my intention."
If a person has trouble making a decision, give simple choices. Remember not to overwhelm them with too much information at one time. All behavior has a root. Rather than asking, "How can I make this stop?" ask yourself, "What might this person need?" If you are unable to get to the root of the concern, someone appears lost and scared, or you notice there may be a medical situation, treat it as any emergency and call 911.
This completes the Level 1 Dementia-Friendly training. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the Alzheimer's and Dementia Resource Service at 812-353-2787. 9310 or visit us online at www.alzresourceindiana.org. Following this presentation, you will need to score 100% on the quiz. But before we begin the quiz, we would like to share additional opportunities for improving the accessibility of your organization to people living with dementia and their care partners. For organizations who have achieved Level 1 dementia-friendly designations, we have developed a Level 2 designation for putting those concepts into practice.
This designation provides real-world application of dementia-friendly principles, shows a commitment to your neighbors living with dementia and their care partners, and identifies small changes that can make a big impact. Level 2 organizations show their commitment to move from dementia-friendly to dementia-inclusive.
Level 2 dementia-friendly training is ideal for businesses and organizations that have completed Level 1 dementia-friendly training and would like to apply the dementia-friendly practices they have learned to their organization. Now let's take a quick look at a video that tells us how it works for our businesses and communities.
So one of the things we learned from the walkthrough was that this building is really confusing, especially to people living with dementia, but really to everyone. We have two different entrances that are on different floors of the building, so depending on where you come in, it's hard to know where to go to get to a meeting room or a certain collection. As a result, we developed this Wayfinding kiosk, as well as a library map as a handout, and we've tried to color code the different services we offer and make it really easy through the legend here to find out, for example, where the meeting rooms are or where the Indiana room is. For people who are here all the time, that's probably not so difficult, but for newcomers or people with cognitive difficulties, there are some real challenges that we hadn't considered.
And that was one of the things that Lois mentioned in our walkthrough, was having good wayfinding tools. And she did mention that the things that were at eye level seemed to be the most helpful. Because of the vision changes that can happen for people living with dementia, often things that are posted higher up are difficult to see. So something at this level would be easily visual and much more helpful. So I'm here now with my friend Lois Souter, and she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 12 years or so ago. Lois and her husband were kind enough to volunteer to do a walkthrough for us as we piloted this Level 2 project. It's been a while ago now that we did that, but since that time the library has made a number of changes based on the recommendations that you and John made. Have you seen any of the changes that they have made?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's very noticeable. Signage is better. You walk in and there's different desks to go to in areas that where instead of one big desk, you may if you have to wait, you may forget why you went there. So,
how have some of those changes been helpful to you personally?
it's more friendly. You don't feel as bad as going up and asking, and it's just easier to take your time, maneuver around because everything's marked so well.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about a lot was signage, and particularly you pointed out that signage on the restrooms could be difficult because it was on the adjacent wall, and sometimes you didn't see where you were going. I think that's one of the things that has been remedied, in addition to marking a family and caregiver restroom back here for people that might need that support.
So another one of the changes that we affected as a result of the walkthrough was signage on our restrooms. Previously we had a sign over here, but for Lois in her experience, approaching the restroom, being right here, this was out of her peripheral vision. This was what she was seeing, and she had moments when she was about to enter and she wasn't sure that she was at the right restroom. With the corner here, it's a little bit awkward in terms of what the appropriate ADA standard is, but this makes it clear as you're entering that this is an accessible restroom and that it is the women's restroom.
Yeah, again, we're talking about very simple changes, very simple signage that's right at eye level and easy for people to use.
If you are interested in moving forward with Level 2 designation, please contact Dana Thompson at 812-353-9299.
I'm Steve Taylor, and I'm also living with the frustrations and limitations which are a part of vascular dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Although there are some things I can no longer do or do alone, there are many things I can. I am able to live a full and active life advocating for dementia awareness and community involvement, as well as the many activities I've always enjoyed.
And I'm Susan Taylor. And although I do not have dementia, I'm still living with it because I'm Steve's wife and care partner. It is so important for everyone to work together to do what we can to help reduce the challenges and obstacles for those who are navigating the journey of brain changes.
Hi, my name is Brian LeBlanc, and if my voice sounds familiar to you, it's because I was part of the narration for this presentation. Just so you know, I'm living with Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, as well as type 2 diabetes. That's a handful, I know. However, what I have learned through trial and error is the best way to live with these diseases is to live well. And that means to stay social, to continuing my advocacy, and just doing things that everyone else does. That helps. That helps my cognitivity as well as my physical being. So thank you for listening to me, and I wish you luck on your futures, because I think each and every one of you has the ability to do fantastic. Have a great one.
Thank you for joining us today. By receiving this education, you have begun a journey to make a difference in your community.
Helen Keller said, "Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much."
Share what you have learned here with others and witness the change. Because of this, they may stop.
Thank you for joining us today. By receiving this education, you have become a... Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Thank
you for joining us today. By receiving this education, you have become...
Take 3. Third time's a charm.
Fine.